Hey folks, welcome back to my Best of Designers series. We're going to talk about a designer I really like a lot. As a friend, I've enjoyed spending time with him. He's the most humble designer I know, but he makes every game he's made so far is fantastic, and that's Emerson Matsuuchi. Emerson has just, I don't know what it is about his designs. They feel clean, they feel fast, they feel just amazing. And in fact, I'm talking about 7 games here, because he's done 7 games so far, which qualifies him for my lists that I'm doing here. But I know of at least one more that would easily be on this list, but it's not been announced yet. But that he has some great stuff, so I want to talk about him. Number 7 is Tricks and Treats. This is the first game he did. Very simple little card game, but I love the concept of this game, as you had these little, basically, you're trying to collect candy, and you're putting candy in these baskets on the table. But you're not sure whose is whose. If you know who someone's basket is, you can call them out. And if you're correct, they're out of the game. If not, you're out of the game. Or out of that round anyway. And then whichever, the baskets are going to get points for the person who controls each of those baskets. Really fun game, and I liked it a lot. Number 6 is Volt. Volt is a robot programming game where you have some dice and you're going to pick how the robots are going to move, what they're going to do on the board, and they're all spinning around and going in different directions, and you are programming the robots with dice, and it's a really cool concept. The game is not as complex as maybe things like Robo Rally are, but I think you have more control even than that game does, and I like it. And a new version's coming out soon. Number 5 is Century Eastern Wonders. This is the sequel to Century Spice Roads, and I think I like Century Spice Roads better because it's a more streamlined experience, but Century Eastern Wonders is a much deeper game, I think, because you see everything on the board. In fact, you can even combine them to have a third game. And so you are playing and moving around and essentially trying to economize your actions as you have these ships that go around, and there's ways to improve how your ships move around the board. It's a really clever game, and it's a nice sequel to the original game, but it still ends up feeling like its own game. Number 4 is CROSSFIRE, one of my favorite social deduction style games. And there's 2 versions of CROSSFIRE. My favorite is where one person is a sniper and they're trying to figure out who the assassins are who are going to try to take out the leader. Everyone knows who the leader is, and so we're trying to figure out who's next to it. You see a few cards. You see cards of the people next to you, possibly, or at least you know that there's the cards are around you, and you just have to convince that sniper not to shoot you. Really fun. Number 3 is SPECTER, one of the best hidden movement games there is. Think Sherlock Holmes. One person is an agent. Silent Snake, maybe? That's not actually what he's called, but he's sneaking into, or Solid Snake, sneaking into a base and trying to go around, do different missions. Everyone else is hunting that person down and moving around and trying to catch a glimpse of them. It's very tense, but a lot of fun. Number 2 is Century Spice Road. They also made Century Golem Edition. Both of these games are fantastic. A very simple game in which you have an action in your turn to take a card in your hand, to play a card, take some gems, switch those gems for other gems, eventually use those gems to get one of the gold cards. Not very complicated at all. It builds on older games like Basari and things like that, but it does it in such a clever, quick way. Like, it's my turn, I take my turn, oh, it's my turn again. That's how fast the game plays, and I love it. And then my number 1 is Reef, which is about to be released any week now, I think. Reef is a game in which you are playing cards to place different reef pieces in front of you in a small grid, and then that card will score for you. But the card that scores for you will often be different pieces than the one you play. So you're trying to figure out the best way to play these cards to build up to do some big scoring, and it's extremely simple. It's very similar to Century Spice Road. In that you're going to play some cards and just go around really fast, but just trying to figure out the best time to play a card, the best time to, set up this little chain reaction of scoring points. It's pretty tricky and yet very easy to play, and I predict that this one's going to be a really big hit. I like it a lot, and so that's Reef. Well, there you go. Emerson's also an accomplished modeler. He makes models for different games, and I think that's a pretty neat thing. He knows a lot about game design. If you ever run across him, ask him, because he's just really smart that way. Until next time, I'm Vasel. You've been watching Best of Designers, Emerson Matsuuchi.